Well, it is Friday night, and that can mean only one thing, and that's a big, massive welcome to All Four Back, the weekly podcast broadcasting all of your STS action from the weeks gone by. I'm, of course, Chester 430, and I'm joined by, thankfully, Halliton83.
Good evening.
Good evening, mate, and good evening to Shads as well. Good evening, sir. Do we have Shads?
Good start.
That's a very good
Greetings,
start.
gentlemen. Sorry, I had my little boy. My little boy was standing next to me, and he was waffling away.
Oh, good lord!
Nearly missed your 2 minutes, then, Chad.
He
Yeah.
did, didn't he? He did anyway. But,
Hey, I'm not Bewitcher. I've gone too early.
Oh man! Well, a good evening to you as well, Shad. Good evening, sir.
Oh, greetings.
Yes, greetings. Right, we have a bit of a bumper show tonight, chaps. It was all talk. It's a bit of controversial stuff happened over the week as well, but we're going to get into that details later on in this show. We do have a couple of guests on tonight. Obviously, we have two guests, which is very rare for the show. We have, of course, BigSlowCainy later on in the program, and of course, we're joined by head referee Thrax to delve deeper into the controversy from Monday night. But in the meantime, it was individual action on Sunday where the third round or fourth round? Third round, wasn't it? Yeah, third. Yep, third round. The third round of the SCS and the BGP took place over on the continent in Vargana, which I believe is Denmark. It shows how much I know.
Sweden.
It's Space's home meeting.
Thank you. Yes, of course. It was indeed. Yes, thank you for that, Shads. So, this match was pretty much a foregone conclusion. As you can see there from the program, we had a convincing winner, which was Stefan. Although, credit to Steph, he did have a couple of blips in his second and fifth ride. He had a very rare third place in one of his races, but then reeled off, I think it was 14 from his last five, so, and just comfortably winning in that one. But of course, Shad, you were in this meeting. First of all, there were a lot of talks about the track conditions at Vargana. Wasn't to your boys' liking, so I'll just throw the board up to you guys and give your thoughts on Vargana.
Next.
Shad says next. Shad, what do you think of it, mate?
What do I think of? It was actually a pretty decent meeting from what I saw. I think we've got to start with saying the unluckiest rider of the night's got to be Bobby. I think he lost one. He only dropped 1 point during the heats. I think he broke the track record. I think Sizzler actually broke the track record first, and I think Bobby broke the track record again after that. Trying to see what heat it was. It might have been heat 10. I can't remember what heat it was. And then he got a third. He actually scored more points. He actually scored more points than Stefan in the heats. I think he topped the charts, and he picked the wrong gate. Unfortunately, I think he had first choice and picked gate 4, and I think he admitted afterwards it was the wrong choice. I think that done for him in the end. Yeah, it's done for him. I think he got a bit flustered and just picked the wrong gate.
Yeah, I can confirm that Bobby did set the track record in Heat 10, which was 36.257. So again, a great night for Bobby there. Just missing out on the on that final spot in the picking that gate 4. Any other riders that you look of from that night? Because of course there was a lot of big names, big hitters in that meeting. So you also got like DL Shaw, you had Fakey, was a home track, you had Powis, you had Stefan, Racer Ryan, Sizzler, who was on fantastic form last week. And also
Sizzler's come back with a bang, hasn't he? Sizzler has.
Yeah.
He started off the season pretty slowly, I think he'd admit, but he's come back the last couple of weeks back to the Sizzler we remember.
Yes, I think once Sizzler gets going, I think he's quite possibly one of the and he's like practicing and gating and doing that. He pretty much has potential to be like the top guy in the game. No, that's saying something. I say very surprised on Zagar, only scoring 7 points. A bit of a disappointing night for Zagar. And again, also Don's 101 didn't even turn up by the looks of it. I think he had either he was
No, he didn't. He didn't turn up now.
I think he does go karting on Sundays. So
of course, yes.
He's not ridden in one of the rounds yet. I think he's missed all 3 rounds.
He did say in our interview we had with him a couple of weeks ago that he does go karting. So
I've even taken him out of my betting, so he's not even in the betting anymore.
Oh, that's a shame. Yeah, so Bobby said in the chat, I picked the gate that broke the track record off. Just got stuck in traffic on Ben 1 in the semi-final. Would go gate 2. I had my choice again, but hey ho, happy with 15, which is fair enough, Bobby. You know, you did fantastic, mate. From what I can say, it was a shame that the meeting wasn't actually broadcast, because it would have been that meeting broadcast on Sunday. But unfortunately, due to technical faults, we couldn't get the meeting covered, unfortunately. But again, with that,
it's amazing. Bobby's on 30 points already, just from 2 rounds. I mean, he's only 3 points off 3rd spot, and that's only after 2 rounds. You've got to say he's got to be one of the favourites for the top 3 on this form.
Tanks just said Don's little lad wasn't well and only remembered about meeting 6 minutes into the BGP. Oh, so he knew about it, but of course his family commitments came first, unfortunately.
Oh, that's how it should be.
That's a shame. Well, hopefully that Don's little lad is better, getting better. So again, the circus rolls on. I believe we head down under for the next round 4. In New Zealand, so a nice early start for everyone for that one. Have you guys ridden that track in New Zealand yet before? I believe is it Rapunia? I
can't pronounce it.
I had a quick look at it the other day, just to have a look, and it's quite long and fast.
Oh,
which won't suit me at all, unfortunately.
Oh, Bobby's little lad's birthday today. Happy birthday, Bobby's little one there. So there you go. We're switching gears now. I think I'm just getting lost my bearings there a minute. But I think we haven't got the league table for the BGP. Stephen actually hasn't.
I think he's about to change it.
Oh, possibly.
Oh. I just saw the arrow go across the screen.
Yeah, I did as well.
I think Fakey deserves a mention as well, actually, because for the BGP, because he won 3 races in his heats, scored 10 points, and now he came last in his semi-final. But after his first race exclusion, to reel off 10 points in his last 4 was pretty impressive.
Yeah, I totally agree. There we go. Thank you, Tank. You've got the table up. So again, looking at that table, I mean,
lower.
That's fine. You're trying to find your face, are you?
Is your missus scratching your backheads?
Lower. Well, I say, looking at that table, I mean, you look at the top, Stefan there on 50 points. He's my math is so bad right now. I'd say 14, 30, 20. No, I wouldn't know.
That's nearly 17.
Yeah,
nearly 17 points each round, isn't it?
7. Yeah. But Stefan there leading the way on 50 points, and he's so far ahead of Racer Ryan. So even Steph could miss at least one next round and then still be potentially still in front. Because there is only 24 points available for a Grand Prix win if you go through the card.
Is it 21?
21.
Isn't that what Wolf scored 21 in the SCS first round, and he won every race.
Of course, I'm
7
thinking
races. Yeah, 7 races.
I'm thinking double points in the final, but it's not, is it?
No,
Single points.
it's back to normal points now.
Yeah,
The 7 rides, 7 wins to
7
be
wins.
21.
Yeah,
I might get that after 8 rounds if I'm lucky.
Join the club.
With a few more no shows, I might be all right.
Where's your confidence, Chads? My goodness.
Oh,
mate.
I left it. I
where's
told
your
you last week. I left it in season 5 when I was a 7-point average rider. What
Wow.
happened? Oh no! Wow! Wow! It's
Oh,
hard to believe. It's there in the
Mm.
stats. That must have been, unless someone's put
Yeah.
the decimal point in the wrong place.
Oh, well. I said, we're looking at that table. It's looking very close between that last qualification place with Crook and Fakey both level on 24 points apiece. So, that can go either way because, one bad meeting from either of those two, and then the ones underneath like JC, yourself, Hadlington, even Squall, and even you, Shads. I mean, you can maybe, put a couple of decent scores in and be
You
in
never
contention.
know. People going to miss a meeting or two. You
It's
just
a
don't know, do you?
it's a very, very long season. So, like I said, round 8 goes
Yeah.
into next year.
Yeah.
So that's the it's all but anything's possible.
Yeah.
What you're saying is, forget the top spot. We're looking at who's going to qualify for next year.
I wasn't gonna put it. I wasn't going to put it that bluntly, Shad. But now you mentioned it.
I think it does make a difference with the point system as well. What you actually get, what you score. I think that makes a big difference. Because last season, I think I made 3 or 4 semi-finals, and obviously you get more points for that. And I finished 9th, and obviously I've struggled the last one, and I've gone straight back down to 11th. So it just shows you have one bad meeting with the points you actually score, and you're out of it.
Yeah, it definitely had. But obviously, like I said, it's a long way to go in the season. I say anything can happen. And of course, whilst this match was going on, we had the 3rd round of the SCS series. Now, of course, this one has a lot more going for it. Of course, the top 3 from this match, or top 3 from this season, go into next year's BGP. And the outright winner of that one, and he's in chat with us at the moment. It was Ads MFT with a massive 20-point haul, only dropping 1 point. So congrats to Ads for that one. Looks like he was on fire at the right time.
Yeah, definitely.
Go on, Hads.
Definitely. He only lost, obviously, as you say, that 1 point. And he got a 3-3 in the last race against the Warriors as well. So well done.
Hey.
Saved the last heat decider. But again, this match, even though it's not as competitive as the BGP, it still has some really decent riders in it. I mean, to start with, you had Steven there. Started off with 3 straight wins, and then had 2 second places, which got him into the grand final, but finished in 3rd. But again, Hads, I'm going to bring you in for this one if I can. Good to see Badger Racing getting into the grand final, having scored 13 from his qualifiers.
Yeah, they got their lads flying at the moment. So he can't do no wrong. He's had a couple of guest appearances, as we'll mention later on as well.
Yeah.
So he just improves so much this season. He's constantly making now semis and finals in this series, which is going to help his confidence as well a lot. And I think it helps riding alongside his teammates in this series and seeing them do well as well. It's kind of spurring him on that little bit more as well, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you there, Hads, on that one. I mean, it was a shame that Wolf95 at the bottom of the screen there actually wasn't available to compete, which was a shame because he started the season this year in the first round of the I think it was the SEST was in with the 21-point max. I mean, no one could get near him. But he's slowly just starting to, the commitment and the internet conditions and all that lot. So it's definitely taking its toll on on these riders. Of course, I said it's a long season for this one too, because this one has a lot more running on it. Obviously, with the top 3 going into next year's, I think it's top 3. Is it top 3 or is it top 6?
Between 4th and 11th, I think it is.
4th, 11th goes into this next season's SCS, and then top 3 go into the SGP full time. Yeah.
Yeah.
But is there, apart from those top 4, who else, looking at that score line, do you think impressed you the most? Paddington.
It's tough to tell. I mean, Capesy started off quite well there with his 3 third places. I thought he was actually going to get a run to the semi-finals, but he had a couple of tough races at the end and didn't quite make it in. That was a good effort. I think it's good to see Pompey as well. Pompey keeps improving. Got into a scrapped into the semi-final. I know he came last as well, but it's good to see him getting into the semi-finals. But I think the form as well at the minute is Stephen himself. He's just I don't know what he's done to him and the all of the Warriors as well. Scotty again, 18 points. I mean, he won what 5 races out of his 7.
Yes, he had a win, third, and then win. He
just keeps getting in, and I think this series is actually benefiting a lot of those middle order riders, if you like to say. So I think Scotty's probably over the last couple.
Absolutely.
They've made all 3 finals, haven't they? I think they've been in every final so far.
Yeah, I think so.
Those 2. Yeah, I think Stephen missed out last time. But yeah, it's Scotty, and Scotty's been on fire in this series. I mean, he's not been doing so great in the league. I think he's missed a couple of meetings. I mean, he's not been like. I think because all the Warriors have been doing so well that you sort of like tend not to notice him too much. Everyone's talking about Badger.
Yeah.
No one's really talking about Tank or Wolf or Zagar. All the talk is of Badger at the moment.
Yeah.
But I think they're all riding. Every one of them's raised their average. I mean, what's Scotty's 18 points? I mean, he's got to be one of the favourites now, isn't he? One of those 3. And don't discount ads either. If you can make every round, and you keep chipping away at their lead. I mean, he's only 12 points behind Tank at the moment. I mean, 5 rounds to go. You could easily see ads making the top 3 or top 2. I'd say.
Well, it's definitely been the Warriors' way so far. With this one, of course, and in terms of the league table for this one, of course, it's a lot more to go for this one. I think if Tank does have that table for us, is where it says 1 second and just brings up on the screen. But again, it's like I said, it's the top 3 that go into the SGP, the BGP next season. And then from 4th to 11th, then qualify for this series next year. But again, looking at that, I mean, Warriors top 3, and Scotty with that big performance has now put himself 3 points in front. And then it's a point between Badger and Tank. But watch out for Ads, though. He's creeping up, only 12 points behind 3rd place, and hopefully.
And that's after missing a meeting as well.
It is indeed, yes. Like I said, this one's going to be right down to the wire. I mean, I say mathematically, you're looking at potentially this one going right down to the last one, as I said before, going down to round 8 at Bellevue. And again, looking at that, do you think that top 3 will change at all, Hads?
I think I said it after the last round. I think the top 3 can be broken into. You got Ads as well, and after that 20 points, and Stephen has 101 as well, 25 points after 2 rounds. I mean, if they can keep that level of consistency up through the final rounds, it's going to put a lot of pressure on that top 3.
Shad, go on.
I think it can. I think they can be. They can be split up. I think,
Yeah.
but it'll take something a lot special. I think.
Yeah. Shad, do you agree with that one, mate?
I think it's 3 from 4. I can't see anyone below ads getting into it, to be honest with you. Stephen on his day, I'd say yes, but I don't know how many rounds he's gonna race in, and he's not the Stephen 101 of old to me this season.
No,
No,
there
I
has been
he's
a
not.
lot of changes.
Yeah, I think things outside the game might have taken his mind off of it. Doesn't seem to be as full on as he used to be. But in my opinion, I don't know. But it's the vibes I'm getting. I can't see anyone out of the top 4 getting into it. 3 from 4 for me.
Wait. So of course, this match will then take place, or the next round of this one will take place at the same time as the BGP. And I know we missed last week's SGP match, which would have been. I don't know which is going to get streamed this time. Like, it could be the SCS, and then just updates from the BGP, if and when we can get them. We are hoping to have that match streamed eventually, or at some point. We will find out more information about that. So, anyways, chaps, we have just had the reviews. I think it's time for our first break. So, it's Speedway question at the ready, I believe, or is it SCS question? I don't think we thought this through, did we?
No, I've got a SCS question.
It's been, as you can tell, chat. We've been a bit unprepared this week because someone's boiler tried to break down on us. Like, we're due to start.
We've all been busy this week. We've all had other things to do.
I think we have, mate, to be honest with you. So STS question, I believe. Well, we think of a Spear question for later. So, Shad, your question, please, sir.
Right. Okay. In season 1, before Sheffield became the Sabres, what name did they use for their first meeting?
Badger, you can't use Google or Alexa or STS forum page.
Badger's not here.
Hey.
I reckon. Looking at the audience, I think ads will know this one.
Yeah. So there's your question, chaps. Before the Sheffield name changed to Sabres, what was their first name they used? We'll see
one
you
meeting. I think it's just for one meeting.
For one meeting. Wow. And when we come back, we will have the Knockout Cup review and in-depth look into that Monday night match between the Pies and the Warriors with our guest Thrax. So stand by for action, folks, and we will see you in about 5 minutes. Well, I think this question actually stumped a few people tonight here, chat, because well, no one's actually got it right so far. Oof, shall we tell them? Ah, there we go. I believe that Ads has got
I
it
told you
spot
Ads will
on.
get it, didn't I?
Yeah, you were correct. It was the Sheffield Octanes. So congratulations there to
Their
Ads.
captain was Octane. That was his name.
I remember him. Yes, from
Yeah,
season
you remember him?
3. Right. Yes. Yes, that was yeah. Congrats there, Ads. You certainly have a good memory, my friend.
It's been a good week for Ads.
Yeah. Lango says Anorak. Sheffield Anorak. Okay, so we're now going to get serious now, chat, because obviously the main talking point of this meeting was the Knockout Cup from Monday, and it was the Pies against the Warriors. Now, of course, a lot of talk has been happening about this meeting through certain things about Heat 1 that night, and what we're going to do is we're going to bring in the head ref for this little segment. If he is ready, I'm sure he is. He'll be unmuting himself in a few seconds' time. He is also, I will say, he is a former 2-time league winner with the Exeter Storm and the Leicester Dragons. So we welcome in Thrax. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. It's very
How are you
nice
doing?
to be here.
How you doing, mate?
I'm doing well. I'm glad it's Friday.
Yes, we are glad as well. Well, not miss I'm working tomorrow, but there we go. Anyways, Thrax, you are head ref of STS. Now, this match had a lot of controversy in regards to that opening heat. From what you know, what can you tell us about what was said in the aftermath? Shall we say?
So I have had a whole bunch of different chats this week. I had Stefan on the night. Tank, being the wonder that he is, provided so many bits. He'd got the server log. He'd got a whole bunch of stuff. As I understand it, the series of events is that the Witcher missed the 2 minutes very narrowly because he does appear in the server log shortly after Stefan says excluded. The Witcher then disappears, doesn't call for the reserve substitution. And as per the rules, captains must call for the substitution. It's not an automatic right. And a whole bunch of waiting happened. Stefan tells me it was about 5 minutes of trying to chase after B-Witcher to get an answer, which is much more than we expect referees to do. Got no answer. Vice Captain Don said, just run it. So Stefan ran the heat, 3 riders, which has caused controversy, as some people think the change should have been automatic when it isn't by the rules.
Ooh, that's wow. That's definitely a lot. It's definitely a lot more than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, the big thing I have is people have said the word can replace, and we have in the captain's chat we have said it is a can. It's not a must. It is not a will. It is a can, and it is a captain's choice.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in that sense, is there like well, I'm trying to get my words right here. I don't want to sound like I'm trying to side with one team than another. Was there an argument that race could have been rerun rather than after the result was given?
Generally not. If a referee misses a call, so for example, if Bewitcher, if Stefan had immediately run the race without giving Bewitcher a reasonable time, and we often say reasonable time is 20, it's about 30 seconds we use between heats for reserve substitutes and things like that. And I'd say it's no different to that. Give 30 seconds a minute. If Bewitcher had put it and Stefan had ignored it, I would have said there is a case that a call had been wrong. But in this situation, to me at least, Stefan gave a lot of time for a decision to be made. He says 5 minutes. The info I see is about 3 minutes. or 3-4 minutes with no answer. So to me, at least, he has tried, but there hasn't been an answer, and that running it with 3 was the right call, because it is upon the captains to make the change. Referees should not make decisions for captains.
So what you're saying, Thrax, is Don's actually said run the race. So if Don's would have said, can we put a reserve in, would he have been allowed to, even though like 7 or 8 minutes had passed?
So this is where I'm going to go into separate to the meeting. In my opinion, you shouldn't give a big time. It should always be keep the meeting flowing. And we do say in the guidance given to referees, allow 30 seconds to a minute between each heat when you call a result before the next heat to give captains time to make changes. So in this situation, ample time had been given. I think if Dom had said something, that would have been Stefan's call to make. I personally, if the vice captain had given the call because there'd been no response from the captain, I would have taken it, but I would have asked for it. It's just my refereeing style. I like to keep the meeting flowing. Stefan wanted to give the maximum time.
Stefan was just being too fair.
He was being very generous with his time, I will say
very
that.
Generous, yeah. I'd say generous is very good, very good.
Hadlington, you're a captain as well, mate. Is there anything you want to sort of ask Thrax while we got him here?
Yeah, there's a couple of things. Obviously, when you said if Dons had made that call, obviously Bewitcher, as I gathered earlier, I mean, I'm not sure because I was told he disconnected originally. I'm not sure.
So what I've seen is he disconnected, but then he joined the server and then he left again. So he had appeared and been told that he'd been excluded.
Yeah.
So he was present when he was told about the exclusion.
Yeah. The other one was trying to think off the top of my head what it was now. You might have to come back to me in a second while I remember.
To answer Scotty's question. Scotty's popped a question in the. He thought Dons was aware. Dons was told in the meeting server, not in Discord, in the Stefan server. He was told that the change could be made because Dons directly asked, "Can we put it in?" But Dons chose to say, "Run it with 3," when he could have said, or could have suggested that they'd like to make the change. So. Yes, Dons was also aware that the change could be made. He had been told the rule.
I do actually remember what it was now.
There we go.
After I've read the chat the next day, I was going through, obviously, scaring the chat. And I know when they said about Ben was told to get ready for the race because he was going to be in. But I've heard a few people say, well, the heat wasn't recalled. I've read the rules, and as a captain, hopefully I know it got this right, but there's nothing in the rules saying that the heat has to be recalled. Am I right in saying that?
I'm going to say I just missed half that question. My laptop froze. So could you do apologise?
The heat call from the chat. I know a couple of people were saying, why wasn't the heat recalled with 3 riders? I've read obviously we know the rules as captains. I don't think that's a rule. Am I right in saying that, or the heat doesn't have to be recalled, does it? So
this is actually one of those fun. I hope Tank doesn't mind me saying that me and him have occasional discussions of the rules and things, and we've both said that we would run it differently. Tank says he wouldn't make a recall. I personally would. My refereeing style is to make known at every point what I'm doing. So at that point, I would have put one to say we're doing a 3-rider race. But Stephen has said the opposite. So it is. We don't necessarily have to do it. It is refereeing styles. My style is to call it, but it is not mandatory. That is just something I like to do.
Yeah, because I think Stefan also added that the 3 riders were ready in the server. That's why he didn't recall the race.
Yes, he did.
Thrax, if I may, mate, just to step in one for a second. There's also been a bit of talk about the inclusion of Badger Racing at number 7 for the Warriors. I know he was taking the rider replacement ride throughout the meeting. But seeing that the number 6 and 7, obviously Alaman has got a 3-point average and he's got a lot lower than Badger, is was that actually allowed to happen? Obviously, with Badger having a higher average than a main team member, was that actually allowed to happen?
So this was discussed very early in the season. Committee, somebody, and I cannot remember who it was one of the captains, brought it up as wanting us to clarify the rules. So committee very early on had discussed it. And it had been within the whole committee pretty much unanimously agreed that so long as it is only the 6 and 7, that they can be flipped, and it is to try and give people rides and to give captains a bit of choice within their lineups, because sometimes you do have to put your 6 or your 7 in at 6. I can't remember. This is the one thing I meant to go back and find out what we said at the time, but I haven't got all that way back in the committee chat to look. I do remember it was discussed and it was said that we were going to allow it to happen. But I can't remember all the reasons that were given.
Wow. But obviously it was allowed. You said it was allowed to happen, but it was, well, you've pretty much hit the nail on the head there, Thrax, my good sir. Shads, any final question from you, mate?
No, I think Thrax has explained it really, really well.
Yeah.
It's probably a lot of us thought at the time that it was Thank Dodgy was going on, but no, Thrax has said it well, and it's interesting to note that the referees have different styles. I mean, it's interesting what he says about not having. It's not a rule that you have to announce the rerun for an exclusion in the chat, and I didn't know, even I didn't know that. I thought it was a done thing. You had to do it, which is why I thought it was dodgy when Stefan didn't do it, but he didn't have to do it.
I will say, I would like to put it forward for the future to be a common thing. I think the more we as referees can make it obvious to everyone in the meeting what's going on, it is better for the game, for everyone to know this hate is happening, and for you guys to know, especially if you're sat there in a server or in the Discord server waiting for a long while for your next heat, to know a rerun is happening. There's been an exclusion, that kind of thing is really useful.
I think that's a very sensible idea. Even Tank might agree with that. Probably not.
I'm sure he will.
Not looking at chat. I'm looking at chat, see if he says anything. Oh, he agrees. There we go.
Yeah, he agrees with that. He agrees. Hads, anything you want to say, mate? Just to finish off.
Yeah. Firstly, I think that rule with a 7 to 6. I know not a lot of people know it, but I think we have to applaud Tank for using Badger at number 7. Firstly, because he's not broke any rules. He can only use the ride replacement races. Badger scored the 5 points. They've won by 6. That's won them the meeting. But on the other case, the thing I would say is if it was a league meeting, obviously, with Badger Racing, that wouldn't count as one of his meetings. I think, personally, that's just my opinion, if he's racing more than, 2 rides, say 3 rides, then the meeting should count for him and not the rider replacement.
Do you agree with that, Thrax?
Probably just put that in chat.
I would certainly. I'm going to take that. I have seen that suggested a few times, and I'm going to be making that next time we have a committee discussion for rules for that to be included, because it is definitely a good idea. I think if someone is basically riding a whole meeting worth of heats, it could then be counted towards their averages, counted towards the counter, because they are effectively riding a whole meeting.
Yeah.
Bobby's just said I would allow it to count towards the RR2 counter, RR counter, that is. Powers just said if you're going to get them 4 rides, you might as well put them in the 1 to 6. Scotty Beach just said if they ride surely. So again, this match had a lot of talking points, and I say we want to say a massive thank you to you, Thrax, for coming in and just clarifying it all for us. I saw, obviously, when it was being discussed in our media chat, I thought, right, get Thrax on and give his thoughts about what happened. So I mean, we really do appreciate you coming in, mate. Really do.
Happy to be here, and if there's any more questions in future weeks, happy to come along, give thoughts, give understanding, and help everyone understand what goes through our referees' heads and how we interpret the rule book.
Oh, that's brilliant, Thrax. Thanks for popping in, mate. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, and
Cheers, mate.
Cheers,
good evening,
Thrax.
guys.
Yeah.
Cheers. Well, I must say he's a very polite speaker. He's actually really posh and polite.
Well, we got someone to take over from you if you have a week off.
Oh, well, I did ask Skyrider.
Watch your back, Ben.
I did ask Skyrider if he wanted to cover at any point, but he was working, unfortunately. So I'm afraid that wasn't going to be the case. But yeah, great inclusion there with Thrax, just explaining everything. Stephen, oh, you've been called posh. I know that feeling. But anyways, apart from all that happening, it was a win for the Warriors by 6 points. And again, even without that controversy, this match went down to the last heat. Obviously, with heat 14 with that 41-43. So an advantage for the Pie Men would have given them, 5-1 would have given them a 2-point win. But in the end, it was a Warriors 6-point win. Looking at that table, Hadlington, or is it Shads? It's one of the two.
It's me.
Shads, yep, Shads. Of course you.
I don't want to talk about our meeting, do I? Really?
Of course you don't. Nah. So, yeah. but this meeting, say 6 points went down to the wire. Your thoughts on it, mate?
Well, there's a lot to talk about here.
It was
even after Heat 1. Or you can't deny the Warriors are in the box seat. After this, a 6-point lead to take back to Somerset. Although they haven't been performing brilliantly. I mean, Dynamite ran them close last time. Zagar, Ryan, Stephen, Scotty, all in good form. Thrax has mentioned about Heat 1, so we don't really have to go over that again. I mean, the Pies actually led after 7 heats, but it didn't last long, did it? Hopefully they'll start up at Somerset, but you can't see past the Warriors to progress to the final, where I should imagine they'll be favourites. 1 to 3.
1 to 3.
1 to 3. Get your money on now before the odds get longer.
The bet. I put the bettings in. Yes, 1 to 3.
Yeah. 1 to 3.
Yeah.
My riders of the meeting.
Yes, please, my good sir.
We're not allowed to say men of the match anymore, are we?
Yes, we are.
Yes. Oh, we are. Okay. It's all blokes. So, right, my men of the match got to be Bewitcher for me. Even after that first exclusion, he only dropped a point after that. I'm sure he'd be switching into the main body of the team from the second reserve spot after the next averages come out, which I'm not sure when that is. Is it after the next meeting? After the next league meeting?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be in the main body after that. And I'm going to go for Zagar for a very rare meeting. We didn't have any pop-ups. By the looks of it.
Yes.
Yeah, Zagar for the Warriors. It's hard to choose one from the Warriors team because they're all pretty good every week. But don't think Zagar's been nominated. I think it's been Badger every week so far.
Well, I think for me personally, I think it's between Zagar and Racer Ryan.
Yeah.
But
I'm going to give it to Zagar.
Give it to Zagar, good man.
For a change.
Oh, that's great. So, okay, 6 points. The Warriors take to the Oak Tree Arena against the Pie Men. Second leg, which I believe is the 27th of November. The second leg. I could be wrong, but I'll find out.
It'd be that week.
That week, yeah, that's cool. Steven says correct. Thanks, Tank.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I think I think that's a GPB SCS weekend as well. It won't be on a Sunday. It'd have to be like Monday to Thursday.
Scotty B says good call, Yank. I think he means tank. And meanwhile, in the second the second knockout cup match, we once again saw an absolute cracker between the Cowboys and the Storm. And again, another close match. And the Storm coming up just 2 points short. The Cowboys winning 46-44. Hadlington, this match had everything. Stefan showing his number one prowess with a fantastic maximum. I don't think anyone got near him that night. But again, Cowboys solid right through, as were the Storm. Went down to a last heat like the other one did.
Yeah, very, very close meeting again. Between two very good teams, I might add as well. It's good to see the Cowboys. Rico was back. I know he's missed a couple of meetings. I think they went with their. Am I voting saying they went with the strongest 6? No, I'm not. I don't think.
I think Thrax is below Hobnob. I think Thrax is the 7. So they did go with it 1 to 6.
I think Thrax is actually higher than Baz, isn't it?
Oh, is he?
Thrax just said, "Oi, I'm 6."
Yeah.
Oh, sorry,
There we
Thrax. we don't see him racing very often, so I can't remember.
No.
Yeah. I think it was a good one as well to guess again, as we was talking about that man, Mr. Badger.
Hobnob. Hobnob just said Thrax is higher because he's a Oh dear, but yeah,
Oh,
sorry.
dear.
Carry on, mate.
Sorry, I was just reading the comment there. I think it was a good guest booking again. Bod Storm, I think we have to take our hat off to Lango for that one. Badger 9+1, very, very solid. Rolled into his actual averages on as well at the moment, which is good to see. But I think it was also good to see Hutty, number 6 for the Storm. I know he got three ducks in his first 3 rides, but then he got a second place and then a third behind his partner in his last race. Those 3 points could be the difference come the end of the tie. So, yeah, fair play to him for getting those 3 points at the end and keep going and keep putting in the effort.
Well, when you saw that heat 14 and then Ads and Badger getting that 5-1 to make it 40 points apiece, you would think, okay, leave it to Craig and Powis to get the 5-1. But of course, they were against the unbeaten Stefan, and I think around Edinburgh, Stefan's going to be very, very hard to beat.
Yeah.
Your man of the match for those two?
I'm not actually going to say Stefan this time.
Shock horror.
I'm actually going to go for the Smiler.
Interesting.
Because I know he struggled a little bit at the start of the season. I know this is not a league match that will go to his average. But to get paid 10 points, 9+1, it's good to see him. I know he didn't actually win a race, but 9+1, that's solid middle order riding for me, and it's getting back to where he does belong and what he can actually score.
And for the Storm?
For the Storm, I think it's a tough one for the Storm because I don't think I'm gonna do something differently here. I'm gonna give it to Lango.
You're giving it to the captain.
Yeah.
Or getting Badger to guest at number 3 and scoring 9+1.
Well, that does take some doing. I think Scotty B put a message in chat saying, "Can't believe Badger rode for the Storm." To be honest, so
to be honest, he's keen. I know he guested for us the other week when I had to drop out at short notice, and he's always asking for laps. Who's opening this, that, and the other. So
yeah, it was great. He turned up for every practice.
So you can't knock him. He wants to get as many rides in as possible. So I think between Lango and Badger for that one for me.
Wow.
Interesting.
So of course these second legs of these matches take place in a few weeks' time, and both of them are very much on a knife edge. Looking at the scores from both matches, who do you see going into the final? Haz, I'll start with you first, mate.
I think we have to go.
Being a neutral.
I think we have to go Warriors.
So Warriors and who would
Oh,
they face?
This is a tough one for me because I know Storm can be got at home a little bit, but I think the overall strength of the Storm will just get them over the line.
So you would say a Warriors Storm final then, yeah?
Yeah.
Shads, do you agree?
What can I say? Well, I know we beat them we beat the Cowboys at home in the first meeting of the season. I think we beat them by 16 points. I don't see for 1 second it's going to be as easy as that this time, because the season's halfway through near enough. They've seen the track, they've seen the recordings. They've got BigSlowCainy now, which they didn't have then. So I think this is gonna go to a last heat decider. I hope we can just scrape through.
So both of you are saying it's going to be a Warriors versus Storm final then. Ooh. We've said we do hope that one of those matches does get streamed. We are going to hopefully get the final stream, which is a good thing when those meetings do take place. But I believe now we're going to have our second break after this interview, so we want to stand by with our second guest of the evening. So if Mr. Tank could bring up the screen, if possible. A very entertaining picture as well he's got as a profile picture. I don't know where he got it from. We'll have to ask him. Now we will say we have found it a bit difficult getting something for this young lad because he hasn't ridden very much. Yeah, that's a great picture. So it says his debut season was season 10. He's ridden for 3 seasons for 3 different teams. Currently riding for the Cowboys in this season's league, the Edinburgh Cowboys. And we're going to bring him in right now. He's a Workington Comets supporter. And we welcome in Mr. BigSlowCainy. Good evening, sir.
Aloha. Como
Hello.
estas?
How you doing, mate? How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. I'll say we've had a bit difficult getting questions for you, mate. So we apologise if it's a bit of a topsy-turvy one. But I want to get your thoughts first of all. Of course, the big news at the end of last season was the news that Workington Comets were going to go back into the championship next year. How excited are you that's going to happen?
I'm not disappointed. I think they wanted to stay in the National League. I probably would have preferred it if we did, just for the stability side of it. But I think the track will be better in the championship because you've got more experienced riders, and it'll develop over the year as well. So it should be good. I'm not too keen on who the Ruben number 1 is, but there's still 6 other riders I can enjoy.
I think I know who that number 1's going to be.
Yeah.
I have been seeing a few laps being done by the said person. You started your career on STS quite early, and had a massive gap in between, and now you've started racing again. What was the thoughts on behind that massive gap that you had before you came back?
Genuinely, I've got not much idea, because I think I can't remember. I was maybe like 12, 13 when I was in season 10, and I wasn't very good. Stephen might know more because I rode for him, but yeah, I wasn't very good.
0.75 average, Caney.
Yeah. I think it's quite
Even
far
I've never
down.
I've never been that low.
I know. I don't know, because I think I looked back not too long ago, and I think I was replaced by someone. So I don't know if I quit or I doubt I was sacked, because I don't think I just get sacked that often. But my average was bad enough to possibly be considered. And then in season 11, I remember there wasn't enough team places for riders, so I think it was like an odd number, and I didn't get picked because 0.75 average. And And then I think I messaged Cowboys. I was like, "Oh, could I be like just in the squad, just like to race?" And they're like, "Yeah, sure." And then I think I did 2 servers and then just never rode because I wasn't in a squad. Then in lockdown, I was like, "Oh, STS, I'll give that a go again," and was all right. Wasn't 0.75. Did pile up. I think I was racing with. Go on.
Cainy, didn't you come back for you came back for the development league, didn't you?
I was back before that, but that was like when I first started. I did the long track thing with Pompey and Ben.
Oh yeah.
Before that, I was doing servers with the Brewers when they were at Oxford. I think I did a few with the Steelers on Really, I think. But yeah, even in the long track, I think I had a bit of a stinker in the first round. Went AWOL until the last 2. And I've got the spreadsheet up. I got 3rd and 2nd in the last 2 rounds, finished 8th. And then the development league happened and I upset someone. I might have left the team, joined another one. And it was fun. I got, I think, about an 8-point average. We had a pretty good run in the 4s with Shads and Hobnob.
Those,
Ryan.
yeah, those.
Yeah.
I was going to talk to you about that.
Oh, actually, I'll tell a
That few
lie as
months.
well. My first
We
meeting
had.
was actually the reserve pairs in season 15. Yes,
Wow.
season 15. I messaged every single captain, and I was like, "Oh, if you need a guest, hit me up." I think because I was really desperate to have a go. And then the pies were like maybe half an hour before. "Oh, so and so has dropped out, or not, the other one's not replying to a ride." And I was like, "Yeah, go on." And then me and Hobnob, we finished 2nd. So that was probably when it first started. And then in the off season was the long track and the development league, and then I went to the Bulls.
Wow.
Yeah.
Certainly remember a lot now, mate, don't you? Hans, you got a question for Cainy?
Yeah, I was going to ask how it came about that you got into the Cowboys team for this year. Obviously, we know that Dench didn't ride at all. I mean, how did that come about, getting into the team for this year?
Well, I signed up to the pool because I was doing SC UK and I do nights as well. So when I'm on nights, I can't do the meetings because they don't tend to finish in time. And I think I guessed it for them against, I think it was against the Pies, and I did all right. Yeah, just I think I guessed for them the season before as well. And there's like, "Oh, thanks, blah blah blah." I think Stefan messaged me saying something like, "Oh, you did well," just pretty nice message. And then I can't remember how it came about, but then a couple of weeks later I was in the team, and here we are. It's just a shame it's Edinburgh because that was where I got the 0.75 average. And as Chad saw yesterday, I'm still not particularly quick around there sometimes. So
You were
yeah,
quicker than me. You were quicker than me, Cainy. You
I
passed
think
me
we
on
ended
that.
up on
You
one in the
passed
end.
me on that second. You passed me on that second bend, like I was standing still.
My
I
head had
watched
gone
the
up for it.
recording.
I think that pretty much answered Craig Harrell's question, saying what's Cainy's favourite track and least favourite track?
Well, least favourite one's easy. I like Sheffield was good. Somerset was good. I like the wider ones, the flat out really.
Yeah.
Gorjov, that was
Oh, I was hoping you'd say that.
yeah. And there's again, it's probably just for the reserve pairs, but there's a soft spot in my heart for Weymouth. I just used to love coming off the inside on Ben 4 and then just smashing into people in the first corner. That was fun.
Yeah, Hobnob did say remember Weymouth.
Actually, it's not in the league, but Peterborough V2 is probably my least favourite. Could never ever get on with that.
I knew that was going to come eventually. Peter V2.
Snap.
Oh, yeah. I think everyone had their disagreements with that one, unless you were a pie man for all those years. Blimey. But Cainy, as well as this year, obviously you've started relatively well. Currently on a 5.18 and you've had obviously a couple of meetings. You've had 17 points. Are you enjoying being back on the game after all this time?
Yeah, always. I always want to come back this season. Just couldn't commit to the start, and I do enjoy it a lot more than SC. It's the only issue with that. It's obviously everyone's spoken about it is the it's on the computer, and not everyone has access to it. But I think the racing wise, it's a lot more fun. Just my gating's lacking a bit on this one, so it makes it a bit tough sometimes. But yeah, I do enjoy it. And
Hobnob
I'll be
said,
here for a while.
"How can he not enjoy being with me?" Says Hobnob.
I love him.
And
He's my best friend. He's
your
really good crack. He's Hobnob.
He's your best mate.
Yeah.
Shad, you got
Everyone
one
loves
question, mate.
Hobnob. I was
Everyone
just going to
does.
talk about that few months we had at Gorjo, the crack that me, you, and Hobnob were having. It was just, I mean, we weren't winning many meetings, but we had a great laugh. I mean, I personally probably one of my most enjoyable times on the game was that 3 months we had with Ryan as well, when Ryan came in, and we had the 4 of us. I think it was a great laugh. I mean, Hobnob, you two were practicing nearly every night.
Yeah.
And I was told, oh, not Caney. He'll never turn up. He's mad as a box of frogs. But it was totally different from what I was told. It was a really, really good time.
No, it's that was really good fun, and I think having
Oh,
Zagar there as well. He
and
was
having RR in our team, yeah, that worked well.
yeah.
It's Hobnob just reminding me.
Nah, that was good. But I know we weren't the best team in the world, but I think them Force meetings were really good, and I wish the development league went on a little longer because it was fun, and I think it helped a few riders like me.
Yeah,
But,
big shout out to Pompey for organising it as well.
Yeah, definitely. But it's one of them. We sometimes struggle to get teams together as it is. So more meetings on a week. I think there was doubts at the start, even in lockdown. So yeah, but it was just right time. I think with everything going on at the minute. But back then, so,
Agree.
Shad, you got one more question, haven't you, mate?
Now you're going to ask about We're going to ask you about the podcast you do.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about the podcast, who you do it with, and what sort of guests you've had on there. Because not a lot of people here might know about it.
Yeah, it's round the boards. I don't really talk too much on it. Nathan Bunting is the big host. He does all the talking. I just jump in here and there. But yeah, it's good. We've been doing it just coming up to 2 years now. This Tuesday is going to be our second to last episode of this season. We've had some good riders, and we've spoken to recently. We had James Denning from working on for the National League. If you go back, we've had like Bruce Penhall, Sam Ermolenko, some really good riders, younger lads as well, Sam Hagen, James Pearson, Luke Lean. Yeah, we try to get every team involved somewhere, and it's looking good. And if we get the guest that we are sort of trying to speak to for Tuesday for the GP review, which is a slight hint, it should be good. I would be a very happy boy.
Is it live or do you record it?
Huh?
Is it live or do you record it?
We record it. We usually record it on the Sunday, but the backup day is the Monday, and then it goes out on the Tuesday.
Oh, Hobnob says get Richie Worrell.
We actually did ask him. We asked him maybe the week after he got banned, and he was like, "I'm going to give it a while." And he's been banned again now, so we might have to just knock that one on the head now.
For a couple of years,
Is there a can we get a little inside peek as who that person's going to be for the GP review?
He's ginger and he's quick.
Stefan.
Yeah.
Hey, here we go. Ginger and he's quick.
You'll never see Stefan in a GP.
Oh, Craig Harold says Casper Gomolski.
That's the one. Yeah, him.
Well, he's ginger, so. Had you got one question for Claney?
Have I? I'm not sure I have actually.
I don't know. Have you?
I think you've said what I was going to say.
Oh shit! I did that again, didn't I? Whoops.
Oh, it makes a change from someone nicking my questions.
Oh, see, we've got to write this all down as to who's right with what.
I think before Kane goes, you've got to give us a bit of info where we can listen to the Around the Boards.
Oh yes,
Oh,
yes.
take your pick.
When and
Spotify,
where?
Google Podcast, Apple Podcast. I said take your pick, but I think that's it really.
And that's Tuesdays at what time?
Tuesdays at 9 a.m. Or we do sometimes go live on the radio. It's not really live, but on BHP Radio. Should probably give them a shout out. And if you want to follow us, search Round the Board on Facebook or RTB_cast on Twitter/X.
Brilliant. Great.
Fantastic.
I'll give that a listen.
Yes.
Especially when Richie Worrell's on.
Oh, definitely. Well, Kane, it's been great having you on board, mate. And I say, any last words from yourself, mate?
Yeah, just keep doing what you're doing. I do enjoy it. I think a lot of people do as well. And if you ever need any advice or want to go through something, I'm here to help. I think I've said it before. Like recording and stuff or any ideas.
We appreciate the recordings you did for us. Thanks very much for that.
Yes, appreciate it.
Just
Really
give me
do.
a shout. I'm always happy to help. And
Awesome.
and sign Craigie Hell.
Hashtag sign Craigie Harrell.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
He'll get his chances.
Yeah. Kane, it's been great having you on board, mate. Really appreciate it. And we'll chat to you again soon, mate. Take it easy.
All good. Take it easy.
Cheers, mate.
Caney.
Wow, that was pretty good, wasn't it? Knowing that information. So yeah, obviously get involved with Caney's podcast, and you got that little hashtag sign Craigie Harrell as well. Now, of course, with we're going to go on to our last break of the night, which will lead on to the previews of the next week's league matches. So it's Speedway question time at the ready, and I believe Hadlington, you got a question, haven't you, for the Speedway question?
I have indeed.
And it's Workington linked, so we just had Caney, so it's Workington linked.
Yeah.
So Hads, far away.
Before the original closure in 1987, which team rode at Derwent Park?
We'll see you in 5 minutes. Oh, we are back for the final lap. And the well, we should have said that answer. Shouldn't have Caney answering it with us, but Adlington, what was the answer to that question? Is he back?
Sorry, I'm talking and I haven't unmuted my mic. Just realised.
Oh
Apologies.
dear. So, what was the answer to the quiz question?
The answer was Glasgow Tigers, who then became the Workington Tigers, and then they closed down in July of that year.
Wow. So it just goes to show that multiple teams can race at one track and still create history. Right. Before we do get on to the previews of this the next week's matches, I want to just quickly talk about that. Whilst the Knockout Cup match was going on, there was a small matter of a challenge fixture between the Dynamites and the Scorchers at Edinburgh, and it was a good match, I believe, wasn't it, Haddington?
It was indeed.
I understand you had a number one there that certainly showed his worth, scoring three back-to-back heat wins, and of course it was interesting seeing the 18 heat format back for this one, which was good to see. But you see there, right at the top, a new name on the list, Barney from Poland. From what I can gather, he's actually a former Polish world champion, if I'm right in saying. And he's certainly showed his liking in his first two races. And I believe is that track record correct, or was it?
No, that's the unofficial track record I found out from Tank.
Unofficial track record.
Because it was an unofficial meeting.
Makes sense, yes. But say, was the 18 heat format, was that jointly agreed by both teams? Of course, using Edinburgh as like a neutral ground, because I know you both got to go there eventually in the season ahead. 18 heats. Was it to everyone's satisfaction?
Yeah, I think it worked quite well. We got in touch with the Scorchers. I think it was Sizzler originally says, "Look, do we want to do something?" Because obviously both teams are not riding without the cup. We put our heads together, came up that we both had to ride at Edinburgh, us, which happens to be on Monday. And then we sorted a few things with Limo, and we went back to I think it was a season 16 Formula A. It was 7-man teams. So every rider got at least 5 races. And it worked pretty well, to be honest. Everyone seemed to get along with it. We had no issues. And yeah, it all went well, to be honest.
I think the big question is how did you get Barney involved at number one?
I know he's been looking at trying to get a guest appearances, but he's been graded at the 9 average, I think, based on his Polish form, obviously being that former world champion. So we knew he was going to be missing a few guys. Stephen 101 and DL were missing. So obviously we needed somebody to replace one of those, and we looked at the pool list to see who we could get, and he was at the top of there, and we got him involved. We got Alan McNally involved pretty late on because Neil had to drop out because of his internet, and we also had Les Sorcier, who agreed straight away to ride. I think he used to be a Edinburgh rider as well for Tank in one of his teams as well, so he went pretty well, scored 12+1 as well. So yeah, it all went pretty well, to be honest.
Yeah, it's like it was good to see a lot of you guys actually getting a decent meeting in. Chads, I mean, obviously you weren't in this meeting. You were busy doing a Knockout Cup, but looking at that match, it looks good. What do you reckon?
Yeah, well, I was interested to see how Barney was going to go. I think I saw some messages in the media chat. I think, but it might have been in our chat in the podcast chat that he'd won his first 2 races. I thought, oh, so I had a quick little sneaky look. Hard to say. I mean, in challenge matches, you don't know how many who's practiced, who hasn't practiced. I don't know how much practice he had. I mean, I'm sure if you're a Polish SCS champion, is going to be half decent.
Yeah,
It'll be
definitely.
interesting to see if he chooses to race next season in the British League.
Yeah.
He has said he does want to get involved as soon as possible.
Yeah, you've got to
So
keep him interested. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how he gets on. Who's going to take a chance? Because you're always taking a chance on unknown riders that come in with big reputations. I mean, we had a few polls back in the old days and like the early seasons that they were brilliant on the Polish game, but just some of them struggled so much on the British game. It's a bit slower, and the Polish game's a lot faster. I've heard. I've never played it. It's a lot faster. They do struggle to adapt. I think we had one guy that rode in two meetings at the same time. He's riding in the Polish league meeting and the British league meeting. He was absolutely awful in ours. I don't know what he was doing in theirs. But yeah, it'd be good to see some more poles in the game. We haven't got enough of them. We used to have quite a lot, but now I think we've only got one, haven't we? Fourth.
Yeah, I think so.
I can't think of any. We used to have 7 or 8 at one time in the British league. When there are more teams, of course. But they don't seem to play the game over here so much now.
Stephen's saying that Penguinek was the first poll I knew of on the game, so that's one of the names, Penguinek. And Powers has said it's much easier to go from the Polish STS to our STS version than the other way around. So,
yeah,
but looking ahead to the match at the Cowboys on Monday, we'll get into that in the next slide. Happy with how your boys performed, knowing that you've got this this sort of level, this edge now going to Edinburgh, knowing that you got the line potentially, and then you got to go against the Cowboys, of course, who can stop Stefan on his own track.
yeah. It was basically just to get everyone out, get some competitive laps in while we were at the cup, and it just made sense to do it at Edinburgh because we're there. Well, both teams are there. We're there next week, and it just made a lot of sense to do that and try and keep the guys involved, most of the guys involved. So yeah, there was four out of the 7 from our team rode. So yeah, that was really good. Really good night of learning the track as well as we went along.
Awesome, and of course, I said we've got our in that list. You can see our guest for next week. We will let you know who that is at the end of the show. But in the meantime, we're going to switch gears to the league review, or sort of league preview for next week. The match is taking place. Of course, the Scorchers get a free week this week, so they take a well-deserved break. Yay, says Sizzler. So the first match on Monday, the 13th of November, 8:30, will be the already mentioned Edinburgh Cowboys against the Dynamite. Of course, you see the teams there, not actually confirmed, but Hads going into that meeting. You're hoping with the turnaround from the challenge match, looking for a good run against the boys.
Yeah, I think we can give them a good run for the money. Obviously, we don't know who's going to be available for the Cowboys. Stefan's coming off that 15-point maximum. We want to try and stop that happening, but that's easier said than done, obviously. But no, I think it'll give us a little bit of a little bit more confidence, should we say, going into the meeting. I know we had a couple of guys missing. We've got a couple of guys to add to what we did in the challenge match, so it can only help us get better, to be honest.
Sweet. So with that we only got them on the 13th of November. Looking for the Cowboys are sort of top-ish of the table. I think they're in third place of the table. We'll chat that at the end of the next slide. And then moving on to Tuesday, 14th of November, we have the Hackney Norsk, and they have a daunting task against the Hyde Storm. And Shads, I'll bring it in for some if I can. Storm looking to bounce back after that 46-44 defeat in the knockout cup first leg against the Norsk, who are still looking for their first win and also their first match over 40 points. But you're not going to go easy on them, are you?
We don't want to be the first team to let them score 40 points, that's for sure. No, well, we don't know what we're going to be facing because they could be using guests again. I think did they use a guest in the last meeting? Pretty sure they used a guest. I can't remember.
Yeah,
who
I
it
think
was.
they had Fozzie for Sculio, I think.
Probably, yeah. I can't remember who it was. Yeah, well, I think you're right. It was probably, yeah. Oh, well, obviously we're looking for a win, but we're actually looking for 4 points because you got to get 4 points because I should suspect Warriors will. So we got a match. Basically, got a match what they're doing because they got 4 points at Birmingham. We only got 1, so already we were behind them on that one. So we really need to up our game from the last few league meetings. We weren't brilliant at Birmingham, but we've got to make it count this time. We can't take. We're not going to take them lightly. We're going to go into it and practice properly. No messing about. Hopefully, we've got all 7 available as well this week. So it's just a matter of who's going to want to miss out on upping their average. Hopefully.
So I want to get your thoughts, Shads, on the Cowboys Dynamite. Do you reckon you give us a score prediction for that one?
Yeah. My strategy would be just to let Stefan go and beat the others because I think they're all beatable. We were blown away in the first heat. They caught us on the hop. Rico and Stefan. I think me and Craig were caught a bit off our guard, and after that, I think we settled down pretty well. I think they're definitely beatable. I mean, Warriors beat them, and I think the way Dynamite have been going, and especially I think Super Dip's top of the away averages. I think it's only from one meeting though, so forget that. But Super Dip's been brilliant. I think having a great reserve as well is going to help them because I think Dip's from what I saw, Dip's one of the better reserves in the league. I think just behind Badger, but not a lot behind Badger. He doesn't get enough. Attention. I think Badger's getting all the attention, but Dip doesn't seem to get mentioned for some reason. And they're practically on identical averages.
Just
So I'm just going to go. Yeah, I think that's the way you like it, though, isn't it? I'd keep it quiet.
Yeah, keep it under the radar. The last meeting.
I can see an Edinburgh Cowboys win, but I think Redcar going to get a point.
Right. Okay. Hads, your thoughts on Shad's prediction?
I hope he's right. I mean, I hope we can keep it close. Obviously, we want to go in there to win. Obviously, we want to win every match, but we know how good these guys are at there, especially with Stefan coming off that maximum last week. Bobby, he's always difficult to ride against. Rico as well. I mean, Rico at 2, he's probably one of the most difficult number 2s alongside Stephen. You can race against, to be honest, because you'll know every inch of that track. So yeah, I think if we can come away with something, I think it'll be a positive.
I've just been told by Tank that Scorchers already have their new green sea averages. The other 6 teams will have theirs after the completion of week 10 fixtures. For those riders who have ridden in 3 matches with at least 1 match at home and 1 match away will qualify for a new grade change. Then everyone's green sheet will come into effect for week 11 fixtures. Right.
So I'll be taking Dip's place at reserve.
Oh, lucky you!
Yeah.
Philly Boots heads, Philly Boots.
Hads, can I get your predictions for Storm versus Norsk? Your predictions for that match?
I think it's only going to go one way. Not being disrespectful to Norse, obviously. I think the Storm must take the 4 points, if I'm honest.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the 2 predictions for those 2 matches. And of course, on the 15th of November at 8:30, we have the Oak Tree Arena hosting the Somerset Warriors against the Berwick Piemen. Of course, 2 very contrasting tracks. That that these boys will be taken to the track on. For me personally, this one's too close to call. Both teams are looking very, very even on paper. If I had to potentially go for an edge, I'd say between Zagar, Racer Ryan. If those two are literally firing all cylinders from Heat 1, it could be another dominant home win. But I mean, you've got like Dons, who on his day can beat anybody. Squall can beat anybody. Speedy can beat anybody. Capesy can beat anybody as well. Pompey as well. He can certainly mix up with the boys and then bewitch and beat Ben Thompson at reserve. Of course, only 6 riders get into the program for these matches. Of course, the number 7 sits out, unfortunately. I'm not sure who's available for that match, but I would. Ouch! Did Dan just say Squall can beat anyone? I just spat beer over my keyboard. Oh wow! Oh, I gotta be impartial, Sis, as you know. But again, it can go either way. Somerset dominant at home. High men can certainly spring a surprise. But yeah, I think my mind's still saying Somerset for a home win. But I think the Pie Men to get potentially a point potentially. How do you see that the same way, Habs?
Yeah, I think it all depends on the availability of the Parliament, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because they missed Speedy last week. I think if they'd had Speedy, I think it would have been a little bit closer in that knockout cup match. So obviously, I think it depends on Wolf as well, because I know he missed the SCS, he missed the cup match. So could we see Tank do the same tactic in the league meeting that he did in the cup match? Who knows?
Well, at least now with Thrax confirming everything for us, I think he's put into perspective of what can and can't be done. Shads, your thoughts on Warriors versus Piemen?
Well, I would have liked to think Beric Pyman would get something, but Squall would probably enjoy going back to his old track. Last year we won the league, and like Had said, it depends if Speedy shows up or not. I think the Pyman middle order is going to let them down a little bit. I think Pompey and Capesy at 3 and 4 doesn't work for me. I'm not sure how Bewitcher will enjoy the track. And Don's only scored 7 points for us in the final last year when he rode there for the Crusaders last year. So it's not. I don't think it's one of his favourite tracks. So I can see probably Warriors win by 10, 12 points, possibly more.
Of course, those sort of points will then take the league table as we look at the league table now. Hopefully, with if Tank can put on the league table if possible. There we go. So at the present moment, Somerset Warriors currently in the lead on 13 points, followed by Hyde Storm on 12. 2 points ahead of the Cowboys on 10, the Pie Men on 9, Dynamite on 7, Scorchers on 6, and unfortunately the Norse still yet to score. But again, even with that one loss that the Warriors have, do you still think, Hads, that they have a shot with a league and cup double?
Yeah, I think anybody who says they don't is talking out their, shall we say, backside. It could, but I think it could depend. I mean, the second half of the season is going to be different. The average is going to change. Badger's going to be in that top 3 or 4 in their team, but that means somebody else has got to drop down as well. I mean, Wolf or Scotty could end up being number 6, and look how well they've been going in the SCS. So that's going to be it's going to be madness, to be honest. But I can't see. I don't think it'll be. It's not going to be a 1-horse race. Storm's going to push them all the way. I think Cowboys are going to be up there as well.
I think the important one's going to be in a couple of weeks' time when we go back to Edinburgh for the league meeting. I think if we can get a win there or get a point there, I think if we lose at Edinburgh next week, I can't see us getting enough points I can't see the Warriors dropping many more points, and they've got to go back. They've got to go back to Berwick. They've already ridden at Edinburgh and they won at Edinburgh. That's a plus for them.
Yeah.
And we've got to think of Edinburgh in a couple of weeks' time. I think we're there the week after next, after we face North Wales, Edinburgh. We got to get something there. That's very important. Oh, I think it's game over.
Oof. Well, again, yeah, go on, Chad. Go on, Hads.
I think what we have to remember as well is you've got to remember Storm have got to face North twice. With one of those being potentially 4 points. So Warriors have got to obviously keep themselves on their game to maintain their form and try and keep at the top of the table.
There's also a chance we could win at Somerset. We could win at Somerset. You just don't know, do you? I mean, you ran them close.
Mm. As they all say, STS is never scripted. Anything can happen. But I think, chaps, it does indeed, yes. And I think, chaps, on that rather tempting bombshell, I think we should close proceedings for this evening. It's been a great night. Obviously, our thanks to Thrax for coming in to decode that all important knockout cup match. And of course, massive thanks to BigSlowCainy as well for coming in. We can confirm that next week's guest will be Super Dip. Super Dip will be joining us in the old podcast booth to get his thoughts on the season ahead. But any last words, chaps? As I always say, any last words for you two?
Yeah,
Craig Pearl.
Oh.
Who said that?
That's got to be Cainy.
Was that you again, Cainy?
Oh, yes, it was him. It was him.
Sign Craigie Hurl. Oh, brilliant.
We're not paying him twice as a guest. Once.
I tell you what, if Craigie Hurl gets signed, it'll be blockbuster news on the first part of the show, and then when we get it,
a lot of pressure on Craigie Hurl now.
Oh yeah, definitely. He'll go for his first match, get a 15-point max. Yeah. Kane says, Craigie Hurl says, Kane, how much do I owe you? Oh dear.
Love it.
Yeah. Well, chaps, it's been great tonight, as it always has been. I'm sure that we'll listen back on this one with bated breath and enjoy what everyone had to say. As I say, before Kane interrupted us, any last words, Shads?
No, just thank you for everyone for tuning in. Thanks for Stephen for producing and hopefully putting the recording up sometime next year. And our two guests.
Yes, Hads. What about you, mate?
Yeah, same really. I mean, thanks for everyone to listening, just so we can keep doing this. I know it's only a small thing for the community, but we enjoy doing it between us, and yeah, it's enjoyable doing it with you two guys. And tomorrow,
no one opens servers on Friday nights, do they?
No, I don't think so.
Not anymore.
Nah.
It's going to be a fun day tomorrow, all day out at the dark. So I might not be speaking to you till Sunday.
Well, enjoy that one, enjoy it. Shads, I'll put up it when I've worked out my strategy if I'm using RR and if I can stop crying over my grassing.
I'm going to watch that recording again later. We should put that recording up on YouTube.
Oh, definitely.
That was a classic. That was a brilliant grassing. That was a fantastic ads.
Thank you, Sis. Well, chaps, it's been great once again as always, and just leave me to say thanks all for watching, and we'll see you next week here at 8 o'clock on Discord.
Or any questions you want us to ask Super Dip for next week, put them in the chat.
Yes, please do. Any questions, drop them in. All right, and any questions for us as well? If you've got any questions for us, drop them in, and we'll be happy to answer them for you. Brilliant.
Anyone out there know how to fix a boiler? Give Hads a call.
Oh, brilliant. Scotty B says, which drugs dip? Big change. That's cool. Anyways, chaps, it's been fantastic, and look forward to seeing you all here next week. And until then, it's a good night from Shads.
Good night, gentlemen.
It's a good night from Addington.
Good night.
And it's a good night from me. Take it easy, guys.